Solving using the quadratic formula. So basically this is just completing the square in shortcut form. If you take this mess and do completing the square on it, it becomes this. Okay, so this is a quadratic equation in standard form. So set the equation equal to 0 and put it in standard form is your first step. And then from there we get our a, b, and our c. And then we just take the a, b, and c and plug them into our calculators. Into our formula. And then simplify the pieces. So that is it. So you've got that. I know the formula by heart. So first thing you got to do is get it set equal to 0. Same deal here. This is positive. The highest degree is positive, so we want to move everything else to it. So we subtract our 1. 2x squared minus 4x minus 1. And get our a, our b, and our c. So if we have this in standard form, a, b, c. Take the sign with it. And there we go. That's supposed to be a 2. And then we just plug it into our formula. So you look at the formula above. It's x equals negative b. So it's negative whatever b is. So it's negative of a negative 4. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. And then you have 3 pieces. We want to find the exact value, so that means exact value means that I don't want a decimal. And the way I'm going to get a decimal is if I actually put the radical in the calculator, so I won't do that. I'm going to figure out what this number is, what under the radical is, and what this is, and then simplify those even further if I can. So a negative of a negative 4 is positive. Underneath the radical is a 4. And then this mess right here, just plug the pieces in. Okay, so you should get 24. If you plugged it in and you got negative 8, so please try it, do it now. Plug it in. If you get negative 8, then you're probably forgetting these parentheses here or anything else besides 24. Okay, so just be careful. Now from here you have to reduce. Now what happens is I want to take this and divide it into this and this into that. So that's what I'll do. 4 over 4 plus or minus the square root of 24 over 4. Now at this moment you have to be careful. This is 1, but this one has a radical and this one doesn't. They're 2 different kinds of numbers. You can't reduce them. So you have to reduce it only outside numbers. If there's a number out there, could I reduce with that 4? So I have to reduce the 24, 4 and 6, and so it's 2 radical 6 over 4, and now I can reduce that. 1 plus or minus 1 radical 6 over 2, excuse me. Or you could have written this 1 plus or minus 1/2 radical 6. As long as that radical 6 is either on the side of this fraction or on the top, it's correct. If it winds up somehow in the bottom, you gotta try again. All right. We gotta get it in standard form first. So I'm going to move all of these to the other side. Now the reason I'm moving this one and not the 2x squared is because the 2x squared is bigger, and I always want a positive a, positive leading coefficient, if I can. Okay, so there it is. Figure out what our a is, our b is, and our c. So 1, negative 6, and negative 3, and plug it in. Here's a couple shortcuts. The first step, first thing that I put right here is a negative b. So it's going to be negative of a negative b, which is just a positive b. Writing the 2 negatives can be a bit confusing. And then the next thing here is b squared. So it's this guy squared. No matter what it is, it's always positive. So 36. Or just put 6, okay? That number will always be positive. So it's just little tricks trying to get you to get the right answer there. For AC, all over 2a, and then we just figure out what our numbers. This is 48 over 2. Then we reduce. So x equals 6 over 2 plus or minus. I'm going to reduce that 48. It's 16 and 3. So it's 4 radical 3 over 2. So the first two numbers reduce to 3, and these two numbers here, the outside numbers, can be reduced to 2. Okay? And there's two answers right there, 3 plus 2 radical 3 and 3 minus 2 radical 3. Yeah. Okay, and then finally, this one. We want to find the exact values again. Remember, exact value means leave it as a fraction, no decimals, or leave it as a radical, no decimals, or both. This is already standard form. Oh, D. I can't erase it now. Whatever. All right, so x equals negative b. Now, b is positive here, so negative b is negative. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4a c all over 2a. Figure out the pieces. Negative 6. This is 4. And this one right here would be, I forget, hold on. Negative 52. Okay. And then we just simply reduce again. Negative 6 over 4 plus or minus. Let's reduce radical 52. Remember, this is a negative under the radical, so it's an I on the outside. So, I radical 52, break that up. It's 4 times 13, so it's 2I radical 13 over 4. So 6 over 4, negative 6 over 4 is negative 3 halves. And 2, whatever that mess is, I radical 13 over 2, or 1I radical 13 over 2, or some similar thing. Those are our two answers. Have a good day.